we have to tell Ross every now and again, you got to stop saying what you're saying so loud in the office.
You got to remember, you're well into your 40. You're approaching 50 now. So
you got tenure though. You're more or less unfireable at this point. It just abuses that power.
That's not true.
Anyway, how are you, mate?
Going well.
We're with Cody Weightman, forward from the Western Bulldogs, fresh off a massive win over the Sydney Swans on the weekend.
Yeah.
Cracking game.
Yeah,
what a
it was,
start.
for
Blew them
sure.
away off the park in the first quarter.
Yeah. No, great to be in here, boys. And yeah, nice to be coming in off a win. Would have been a bit grim off a loss. So.
I know. They're
as
sitting
well.
on top of the table too, aren't they, the Swans?
Swans are number. Yeah, they've been clearing up.
So you guys are hitting your straps coming into the finals. It's so good.
Yeah, how are you guys going? You're what, 8th now?
I think so. Yeah, we've made a good habit of sort of starting the season slow and then
Is that
going well at the back end. So
quite typical for you?
Yeah, pretty typical, and we look like we're doing it again. So
It's better than the other way around.
for sure. Yeah.
You guys did this when you won the premiership too.
Yep.
It was
yeah,
like a
real late charge.
Yeah.
When
So
was
who
that? Was
knows?
that 21?
16.
Yeah.
Oh,
21
okay.
we went
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
grand final and lost. So
That was
Oh,
the year
true.
you were born, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, close to. Because you were drafted 2019, were you?
yep.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
nice.
You don't fit the normal mold of a traditional athlete. There's so many layers to you, and the more I follow you on Insta, and the more we chat and all that sort of stuff, you're like a budding artist. You're the most unassuming athlete, but when I see you out there, you're like a freak athlete. Like for your size, your agility, your ability to like leap high, but there's so many layers to you, like outside, off the footy field as well. So like, I'm super interested in your artwork and stuff that you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think it's become really important. With footy, it can consume your life a lot. So for me, it's become really important to have stuff outside of that to just escape it. And when I'm at the club training or playing the game, I'm fully invested and I'm super engaged in that. But when I'm not at the club, I like to completely switch off from it and try and get away from it as much as I can. So whether that's surfing, travelling, art, whatever that is.
Do you get a fair bit of free time then outside of when you're training and wanting to do all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot about recovery, especially in season. So in season, I actually have more time than the off season. So yeah, these days are all about just how you recover, and a part of that for me is being able to sit down and do art. That's something that's good for my recovery.
Yeah,
whereas,
that's pretty ideal.
yeah, having ADHD and stuff, like I'm normally bouncing around and surfing and doing other things that I probably shouldn't. So it's been a really good hobby for me, the art, to actually rest.
So it keeps you, like when you zone in on something like your art, that allows you just to basically switch off the outside world and you're just focusing on that.
Yeah.
Have you always been like creative since a little kid? Like have you always been good at drawing and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I've always really enjoyed doing it. So from a young age, and then I sort of moved away from it a little bit as footy got really serious. Just found I had less time with exams and footy and trying to do all that at once. And then it wasn't until I got injured in my first year that I had a bit more time again, and couldn't surf and do physical stuff. So then I started drawing. I actually walked past a hard rubbish canvas one day, had a hole in it, took it home, and drew on it, and then from then on I
So
haven't
that's when
stopped.
it started.
Yeah, re-engaged. Yeah.
It's good to have those things outside of footy to balance you out, because if it's
Sure.
just all footy, like you'd just burn out mentally, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Like it's just
100%.
footy all the time.
Yeah, which is great when things are going well, but that's the reality is that it's not always going to be going well. So you need to be able to have an ability to get away from it.
Yeah.
What do you reckon you'd be doing if you weren't playing footy then?
There was a few things that I liked at the time if it didn't transpire. One was a player manager, which in hindsight I don't think I'd like that at all.
You've got the best player manager in the world.
Yeah, he's a good man.
Great.
Yeah,
Lockie.
Yep. Yeah, shout out to Locke.
Fresh out of primary school.
Junior.
That poor man losing a bet to lose all his hair as well. It definitely wasn't his idea, was it?
That couldn't be.
Yeah. That'd be a cool gig, but it's pretty cutthroat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
No,
he's
it's
one of
full
the
on.
good guys in the industry too. That's a pretty cutthroat industry.
Yeah. No, it's so competitive now. So
But were you and him mates before he started looking after you, or you just
Yeah.
become friends through the job?
yeah, it's actually really interesting. So we went to the same school through junior and middle school, and then reconnected at the Western Bulldogs. He was working in admin in sort of like a commercial
Oh, yeah, he
partnership.
was
role.
too. Yeah.
I remember.
And more or less, I was sort of finding my feet and getting people messaging me and wanting to do stuff, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I just said, mate, can you do this for me, like on a personal note? So he started doing that, and he was doing all right for me with some brands and stuff, and I was like, we're actually making this work. So I was like, I better tell my real manager. And so ended up telling Scotty, and on the spot, he employed him. So Locke was doing, excuse me, he's doing really well.
It worked out. You got to stay with your existing management company and brought in a friend who you trust and you know has got your best interests at heart. I think that's the most important thing.
Were you the same year at school?
He was a year above me.
Yeah, right.
I might just say my real managers, Scotty and Winston, are great.
Yeah, good point. They're real smart.
Yeah. When did you start playing footy? Like, what age were you?
It was probably like 8 or something. Yeah, real young. I was kicking straight into it. My brother and my dad played, so it was sort of always the route.
No other sports?
No, I was riding to swimming.
Yeah, nice.
Swimming, basketball.
So competitive swimming. You were going to squad every daily.
I did Vic for swimming and basketball. Excuse me, I got hit in the throat.
He'll
in the
tell
game
you
yesterday.
got hit in the throat, but it's purely from celebration.
I've had the same excuse, mate. Don't worry about it.
Your one's usually from like vaping too hard, Hal.
Yeah, I promise it's not that.
It's from getting hit in the throat.
So you did swimming, bit of basketball. At what age did like everyone around you start to like say, "Oh, this kid might have it"? Like, that's question one.
It was more internally for me around like 16. I was like, I think I could take this footy stuff further.
So it was you that sort of recognised it first. Like, were your parents or your dad like? Was he like? Did he push you? Like, was he like, "Hey, you've got something here. You need to commit yourself to footy"?
A little bit. Like, Dad's always been one of my best mentors and my best guidance. Been hard on me, but also like for the right reasons, and showed me where I can get to. And so I probably believe a bit earlier than most other people, which is important for an athlete. And that's when I sort of cut basketball, even like water skiing and stuff. I pretty much dropped all the other extracurriculum, and I was like, I'm all in on this. A little bit like my
16.
art. Yeah, yep. I think like you get to a point. I was probably more committed earlier than that, but that was the moment where I was like, all right, everything else doesn't matter right now. It's just that.
So as a 16-year-old kid that you decide, okay, I'm all in on this, what does commitment look like? Because, you try to get kids that age, they're all keen to play footy and train in footy, but then it's like, okay, we need you to get in the gym, we need you to do all this extra strength and conditioning and agility. And
Ross is going to be showing your answer to his kids as well.
No.
He's really leading the wings.
So did you, is that when everything switched on? You started doing sort of extra training outside of footy and everything as well? Or were you just sort of all just footy at that point?
Nah, like when I say all in, it is that. It's all the extra stuff. So we had lucky enough to grow up with a pool and stuff in the middle of winter, always in there and recovering and doing all that stuff right. It's also the age that parties are starting to happen, and the boys are starting to meet the girls and stuff. And
so how do you stay focused during that period of your life? Like, it's so hard.
Just getting your priorities right, I think. Like knowing the short term or the long term, like what's the one that you value more. And for me, it was always footy long term. And knowing that I wasn't going to be tall. I'm the tallest in my family. I'm not even 6 foot. So the reality was that I'm going to have to do everything right, tick every box just to have a chance. And that was no guarantee still. But I think by the end of it, I made enough right choices that I got myself in a position to get drafted. But I think I look back on it and there's so much unknown along the way. And that's almost what makes it so rewarding. It was halfway through my 18th year, like under 18's year, and that's when I found out I was getting drafted. But the amount of years of committing to that one phone call from your manager or whatever, or from the club on the night, is pretty crazy.
So how does it happen? Like, how does that draft thing come up? Like, you just get the call from the manager, but what's going on behind the scenes? Like, are you picked up in any sort of pathway, like development programs?
Do you do a workout for all the other teams who might want to draft you as well beforehand?
Kind of as a draft combine, but more or less you're just playing your footy and you're hoping to play well enough that you get interest. And
there are scouts and whatnot coming to watch you.
Yeah, so it's funny because if you look on paper, like I went pick 15 and it looks smooth sailing, highish pick, and happy days. But like in my start of my under 18s year, if there was a draft at the start, I wouldn't have been drafted. So I had a lot of work to do, a lot of chasing to do in my final year. And so, I was able to probably bank a few early good games, and then that's when the managers start calling. And so you're literally on the way home from school, and it's just random numbers. You're like, hello.
Are you taking those calls?
Yeah.
So Dad's not taking those calls?
No, they get your number and they call you. Then you have a meeting with them and you meet with a few. And at the time, I wanted to be a manager, so I met with like 6. And then I was like, shit, I've got to tell 5 I don't want them. It ended up being hard.
Yeah.
But it was really good. And then like from then on, you play another few good games, and then suddenly clubs start calling you, and that's a cool feeling when such and such from Richmond
sick.
Footy Club here, mate. We're interested in what you're doing, and we'd love to come to your family house and catch up. And
In high school as well. That's huge.
yeah, like literally like lunchtime on the way home. I actually got done by a copper. I was at a traffic light, and a random number called me. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm definitely answering these. It was Richmond.
Yeah.
And a bloody copper pulled up next to me, and I'm like, mate, I promise you it was a club. And he's like, I don't care.
I would have taken that call too.
100%.
Yeah.
Imagine going back like to at lunchtime or something. It's like, oh, sorry, boys, I got to take this call. Guess who that was? Okay, that's insane.
So picked up by the Bulldogs. So when you first enter into that team, like as a young kid, basically, like how daunting is that? You don't know anyone. You're one of the youngest there, and you're just looking at all these guys like you've been watching on TV for years, and you just go, "Fuck, I can't believe I'm here."
Yeah.
But how is that process of like integrating with the team, and how good are the boys at sort of bringing those younger players through?
Yeah, very good. I think obviously they get to do it every year, so as players you learn how to help others settle in and stuff, which is great at the time. But I just came in so excited and bloody pumped. Like I seriously couldn't believe it was happening. It was like every day of my life I dreamt of it, and for it to actually happen, I mean, there's such an emotional I suppose vulnerability. You invest in yourself to try and get there, and the pain of not making it would be so bad, but when it does happen, it was just an amazing feeling. And then thrown straight into the hub. So went from a little hobby farm in Officer out sort of half country Melbourne, and then I'm in a 20 square meter hotel room for 6 months, and my life completely flipped on its head, and trying to get a kick at the same time.
6 months in a hotel room. Imagine what you could get up to there.
Stop it. Did you? So before you went to the Bulldogs, did you have? I mean, you must have had like a team you supported and favourite players. Who were they?
Yeah, so I grew up a mad Collingwood fan.
Yeah, right.
So the girls in my family are Carlton, the boys are Collingwood traditionally.
Nice.
So
Have they all switched to the Dogs now?
yeah, except Grandma. I can't get her out.
What do you got to do to get Grandma?
No, I support
she's
that.
not having it.
Respect our loyalty.
No, no.
She's 80 years loyal and not changing. So
That's so good. Yeah. Do the family watch you play every game? Like, are they a real supportive family?
yeah, incredibly loyal. They travel. They didn't actually this week, but generally they travel around the country
So good.
and come and support me. So I'm extremely lucky to have them. They were a big part of my journey, obviously facilitating a lot of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to repay them now. They absolutely love it. They get a kick out of coming and
They would.
getting down in the rooms and being a part of it. And it is a cool way to repay them for all they gave me.
How was the change room yesterday?
The change room?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Is it
good.
loud?
Yeah, it was a good one. The SCG is cool. It's pretty... it's almost like the MCG. It's like an old school feel and the old Lockett stuff. So generally after a win as a team, we have our meeting, then we go in and play the music, turn the lights off and jump around. It's almost a little rave for like 7 minutes.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty nice. You're just banging the lockers and celebrating.
Throwing protein shakes around and everything.
Yeah, just Musashi everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know
Sounds
what
like
you're
a
getting at.
wild party.
I'm just imagining you not doing the champagne after every game.
Oh,
So many
yeah.
amino
Pure
acids.
recovery.
It's crazy.
They get the high protein shakes and they shake it.
You're the worst. I tell you what though, I do love as a casual AFL fan, I do love going to watch the Swans play, especially when they win. But the one thing that one of my friends told me about the Swans in particular is they have such a casual fan base. They might be the only team where when they win, they have the team chant projected around the stadium because most of the people who go don't know the chant. Whereas I imagine if you go to any team down in Melbourne, like my mate's a big Carlton fan, he says, yes, everyone knows the word.
Yeah, very
of course,
tribal.
everyone's into it. The amount of people who will go to a Sydney Swans game who are just there to mingle or to head into Paddington after is hilarious. It's such a casual fan base.
It is. You actually notice that too. It's a totally different fan base at the games. But Sydney's so good to watch and play, so it's become like quite a social thing up here, I think, for fans. Whereas in Melbourne, it's the real diehards. They're going there to win and nothing else.
Well, if you'd been playing a team and you were beating them by 50 points in the fourth quarter yesterday, would fans have stuck around? Because I know a lot of people left early last game.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yesterday.
All the Sydney fans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which would have been 90% of the people there.
They could have left at quarter time, to be fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you notice that? Do you find that fans for other teams will stay to the very end, even if they're getting killed?
He probably doesn't even notice what the fuck's going on in the crowd. Eh? He's so focused
Most
on
of the time, it's interesting. I actually heard a Kathy Freeman thing once about her race and the Olympics, I think in the Sydney Olympics, about just putting up a curtain between the grass and the fans.
Yeah, right.
And I really try to embody that now, and you pretty much just lock in on what you have to do for 2 hours, and then after the game, you sign the footies and do all that shit. But for that 2 hours, you don't really take note of what they're doing and yelling at you or whatever. You kind of just white noise and you know you have a job to do.
Yeah.
It does sound different out there, the noise. It's quite cool.
Do you ever get targeted by fans? Like,
oh, yeah. Well, I actually play a fair bit, like, full forward.
because you were copping it a few months back, weren't you? Over some things, like even in the media. But, yeah, the fans are brutal.
Yeah, for sure. There's, I think it's almost... As a small forward, you're a pretty easy target. You're there to tackle them and be annoying. So, I mean, all the players, that's one other good thing. A lot of players have experienced the heat. So, you've got good blokes to lean on and a good family support and stuff. So, it doesn't really get to you in the end. But
it's almost like an empty face just yelling.
They've never met you or anything. So, you can't take it much.
Some people get emotional. It gets to some people. But like your vibe, your aura, your energy, you wouldn't fucking even...
you wouldn't care.
You wouldn't give a shit.
I love it when I get booed.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Do you feel the home team advantage then? Like when you're playing at home, do the cheers actually spur you on?
Oh, we're sort of pretty humble in the West. We haven't got a huge fan base, but we do. We get a decent fan base to games. They're quite passionate and real diehard fans. A lot of ours. So it's cool when they're behind you, but often we're playing against the big crowds, and I think we love to really embrace that. Like even yesterday, you come out and there's about six blokes cheering for the Dogs, and then you get the Sydney guys run out, and it's like, all right, it's us against them now, and you can really lock into that, which is cool.
Yeah, you can feed off it. You can feed off it in another way.
Yeah.
It's more or less people cheering for you than the amount of people, or more people cheering for you than the amount of people who scored for the Swannies yesterday.
What's going on down at the Dogs as far as facility wise? Like there was, you guys are redoing everything, or is it new oval, new facilities, or everything?
Yeah, so it's funny. After getting drafted, you're about to live your dream, and then I moved into some pretty pox facilities. It was sort of it was pretty similar to what I was in under 18s, but for the better. I mean, we've gone through that now, and we've been in the portables and all that, and trained at a separate oval, and gotten through that, and now it's unbelievable. So they've done like an $80 million reno and new surface, whole new facility, pretty much ice bars, pools, the lot.
Big,
so
new gym.
Yeah, massive gym, one of the biggest in the AFL. So we're really set up now to just succeed, you know.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So when in season, give us a bit of a rundown on your week. Like, do you get together as a team in the gym, or is that sort of individual work? Like, how many days are you actually there at the facility for starters? Like, are you there all the time?
Yeah, so like this time of the year, a lot of meetings. So we're reviewing our games, unpacking it heaps, coaches, one-on-ones, and then team. So today off after a game, and then we got a short turnaround this week, so we're Friday night game. So we'll be in every day from tomorrow onwards. And so the day before the game's like a light jog around and prepare, but the other 3 games are sort of unpacking. The other 3 days will be like unpacking this Sydney game, what we did well, where we could have got better at during the game, and there'll be some sort of, everything's tracked to the T with the GPS and stuff, so It's like your racehorses now. They put you out and you got to hit these numbers and then you come in. So
At training?
yeah.
I witnessed it. I was at a Newcastle Knights rugby league training session, and they've basically got, you guys probably got the same, they had like 4 or 5 computer analysts sitting on the sideline at training, basically just collecting data from every single player. And they'd go and they'd look at the heart rates and everything, and they'd look at, and every player's got their own sort of capacity that they can work out, and everyone's different. So they're like, as soon as this player gets to a certain capacity, they're like, okay, pull them off, do some mobility, get their heart rate down, and we might throw them back out in another 10 minutes. So it's become very scientific, hasn't it?
Yeah. And it's funny,
but they'd work you hard,
Yeah.
wouldn't they? Like the amount of meters that you cover in a game, and like you are one of the hardest workers on the field. So obviously they're pushing you pretty hard at training too, right?
Yeah, I think it's a good time to sort of practice what you got to do on the weekend. So the pre-seasons are pretty grueling, but it's all about just preparing yourself for what you're going to have to do in season. It makes this time of the year a lot easier.
Yeah.
And you can get as involved or sort of detached from it as you want with the numbers.
Yeah.
They send it out after every training, every game, the numbers for everyone.
What do you?
You can go
do you
study
read
if you
into
want.
them?
Yeah, I actually I enjoy it, but I try not to get too engaged. I can get too obsessed with it. And
Are you just looking at like, who's run the most? Like who's
you
done
do
it?
compare a bit. Yeah.
do they track you on the field as well when you're playing?
Yeah.
Can you see who's like run the most meters each game?
Yeah, it's all about pumping each other up though. It's
Yeah.
not really about shaming who's not doing much because everyone's having a crack, and
Yeah.
so they really highlight the good stuff and make sure that's what we're talking about, not the guys that aren't as good at running, because they've got other strengths, and you can get caught in it though. Like sometimes you play a really good game and your numbers aren't as good, and so it's like it doesn't necessarily compare. You can only play what the game gives you.
Well, that's it. That basically it's down to the bounce of the ball a lot of the time as well. But yeah, it's become very, very scientific. But I think it's like to get you guys at optimal, like peaking without overtraining, right?
For sure.
And that's where all the recovery and stuff comes in. Do you guys do like recovery sessions together?
Yeah,
Is it mainly at the Oval.
Yeah, there's we've obviously got our own really good facility now to use. So I'm always in the ice baths and stuff, and it's nothing too official, which is nice too, because like an Adam Trelaw, he's like anti-ice bars and like, really passionate about that. I always get in arguments with him because I'm pro ice bars and I love them. But
so how often are you in an ice bath?
On a weekly, probably like nearly every day almost.
Yeah.
On an average, because
Same as you, Ross.
a few times a day, some days and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but there's certain windows that you want to use it to. Before weights is better than after and stuff for the muscle repair and stuff. So you get educated on all of that, which is great. And mornings is probably my favourite time to do it when I get there. And
so you get there first thing, just
try and get there before your
bath.
physio time and get in there and start your day that way. I love starting that way. Yeah.
What temperature have they got? Like multiple ice baths, different temperatures, or they just got the one?
I think it's about 9 or 10 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's cold enough. For sure.
It's pretty cold. So how long do you normally spend in there at like 9 or 10 degrees?
Well, Bevo, the coach, he's in there for 10 minutes, but
What a savage.
He loves it, just to the neck, just in his zen. I'm more your 3-minuter to the neck and in between. But you got to change it up to hot colds and stuff and give your body different stimulus.
So you guys jump in like a hot pool as well, or you got a sauna and stuff there? Or?
Yeah, big sauna. Yeah, we got the lot now. It's great.
Yeah. How good is this?
It's so exciting.
That's what like you do, isn't it? How often do you do it?
Every day, same thing. Ice bath before training, before weight training, and then the sauna usually after.
Why before? Does it help with circulation?
No, it takes all the inflammation and everything out of your body. But when you train weights, and you're training for like size, strength, things like that, you want your body to go through that inflammation process because that's when it sort of adapts, and that's how you grow muscle tissue. So if you're blunting that. You're not going to get the strength and size gains that you're after.
Which
so
is
you got to do
happens.
it before training or on different days or something like that. But ice baths become super popular, and saunas especially.
Yeah, I think the way you feel after it is why I do it most mornings. It's just
It's pretty euphoric, hey?
Yeah.
It's good for the mind, I find, more than anything. Yeah. So recovery, like obviously as you get older, recovery is going to become more and more important. You're a pretty athletic guy, but it sounds like you're on top of it already. How do you guys like maintain weight during the season? Because you're doing that much running. Like you must drop a stack of weight or unless you're right on top of your nutrition and everything like that.
Yeah, you got to be. Yeah, it's funny. Some guys increase weight, some guys lose weight. So
how do they increase weight when they're moving that much through the season?
Yeah, I'll probably losing their diet or something.
Yeah.
But I find I plateau pretty well now. I hold my weight fairly well, and you get a playing weight you're used to, and you can sort of just stay around that.
Do you blow out much in the off season? Do you put on a few kilos?
You definitely get heavier in the off season, but I think it's a good weight because you're not getting all the knocks and stuff, so you can really get after your gym. Whereas this time of the year, you've got little niggles that are sort of changing your loading, and you got to improvise and just make it work. But in the off season, it's great. You're running hard and you're training hard in the gym and just getting after it, trying to get as strong and fit as you can. So
with your gym work, like what portion of your sort of strength and conditioning is in the gym and then out on the oval with agility and all that sort of stuff? Like there's obviously a mix of both.
Yeah, it's funny. Sometimes you get your gym program and you go to it in the public gym when you're off season. You look like an absolute goose.
You're doing some like crazy shit.
Yeah,
like all the functional movements.
Yeah, the functional stuff.
Yeah,
it's not just your bench press and your squats. So you try and do it in Sydney or something when no one knows you.
I do a fair bit of that as well. I tell you what, you do get some looks. Even just like basic stuff like box jumping or step ups and whatnot. People like give you a bit of space and be like, "Are you alright for a little?"
Yeah, but it's all really functional. So
yeah,
it'd be nice to just get in there and do beachies, but there's not a lot of that, to be honest. It's some of them, is he doing anything? But they tell you it is, so you just get it done.
So you get a program specifically written for you. And this is by S&C coach at the Bulldogs?
Yep. Yeah, so you all have your groups, so sort of your age groups that they target and your positional stuff. So your loading, you got to log in after every weight you lift. You log in how heavy you went, what the reps were. It tells you what you should be doing. So they track every rep.
Tracking everything you do.
Yeah, you're putting little, it's called a gym aware. You hook that onto your barbell. When you squat, tells you exactly the speed that you squatted at. You got to put that in, and everything's tracked. So, they're getting this. They've got this machine now that watches you and shows you like your movement pattern and stuff. So, the gym stuff, it's all heaps of feedback too, and pretty advanced stuff. But again, you get involved in it as much as you want. And you walk up and just lift it, and move on, or you can go and get the science of how you're lifting and how you're progressing, and it's all really accessible too, which is cool.
Who's the biggest like science nut in the team? Who gets into all this shit? Like, there's always one player that's just obsessed with the numbers and recovery and nutrition, just like the ultimate professional athlete. Probably
Liam Jones now. He's a really good mover in the gym and really just gets after it, like really disciplined. But Steph Martin, he's a retired player now. He's a ruckman, and he was in there every day off, just lifting, like just loved getting big and loved the gym. And just, probably end his career in the end. He went too hard, but he was in unbelievable shape and just loved it.
Yeah, it's a fine balance, especially for AFL players. Like, you guys don't need to carry that much muscle mass, just the amount that you move. But then, like, the physical demands of the body, you have to do something.
Oh, you guys do so much cardio. Like, the 2 or 3 seasons I played AFL, it might have been the fittest I've ever been.
Yeah.
You're just constantly running.
Yeah, it is hard to put on much size, but I think it's a good thing because you get stronger, but you're not necessarily getting heavier. So there's parts where you're like, I'm the exact same weight as I was mid-season last year, but you're pushing way more weight, which is perfect.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
You can really tell the difference between particularly an AFL player and like a league player. Or a union player.
Yeah, different purpose, different game.
Yeah, 100%.
What about Hal got roasted about 2 podcasts ago?
I stand by it. I only got roasted because I got one of the players' names wrong.
We had a debate. We got like, what sport would cross over into like marathon running well? And I'm gonna
my point.
I'm gonna go out and say AFL would cross over pretty well. Hal used basketball.
No. That's not the argument.
And I'm like,
my point
so
was.
You reckon? Here we go.
My point was, I reckon. The top, like the more athletic basketball players could transition into most other sports. I reckon a basketball player that could go into another code. Whereas, and Ross gave an example. He's like, okay, what about a marathon? Do you reckon a basketball player could run a marathon? I thought heaps of basketball players could. Maybe not Nikola Jokic. Yeah, so but
they're all 100 kilos, 7 foot. I'm like, no chance. So you're getting grilled again.
Yeah, well, sure. Whatever.
So AFL, like the amount of meters and how fit those guys are, they could definitely do it. Even the bigger guys, like they're still fairly lean and agile and
for sure. Yeah,
it is funny though. It's extremely different. Like method, like the long distance stuff. Like we don't do much of that at all.
Don't you? It's all sort of short sprint. But
So we'll do, part of our warm up is like a 3-minute run.
Yep.
And it's all heart rate tracking, so we can tell our fitness over each week. But even that, like we are not that good at a 3-minute run because we never do it. We never train it. It's all 150 meters or less. Our training
interval stuff
on off, and to the point I've actually, one of my best mate, Mitch Hannon, he's just finished up last year, but he ran a 10K the other day as like a fun run, and he pushed himself, but he passed out. That's just not how we're built.
Oh my god, yeah.
Well, it's probably changed. Like back
Give me
in
that
the day,
flat, I told that.
Yeah.
Probably back in the day, that's
that'll
how
be
they
the clip.
did train. You know, long distance, They probably thought that was the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting how much training changes just from that. Like even from 100 to 200 meters, you get entirely different athletes.
Yeah.
Well, you've come in at such a young age. You'll see, even in your career, you'll see how much training, the evolution of training, nutrition, everything just evolves constantly.
Yeah, for sure.
There's never the right or wrong way to do
fascinating,
it.
eh?
Yeah. So on nutrition, how good are you? How clean are you with your diet? Some athletes just do not give a shit. They'll eat everything, and some are like I said, those other there's certain type that just very strict.
Try to hold like a healthy balance with it. So like, I feel like I eat fairly clean, but I'm like not weighing my meals or anything like that. I don't like to get too obsessed with it because it's something I can get. But yeah, I find that I don't cook probably enough, but we're pretty lucky. We get provided a lot of our meals and stuff at the club, so
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's all pretty much provided. And
do you get like take home meals and stuff like that? Sometimes
you get like the extras, but a lot of your breakfast, lunch is done, so it's just sort of organising dinner and your snacks. So I actually live with a couple of the younger boys, and they can't cook at all. So they're Uber Eats, they're bloody gold members.
2-minute noodles or Uber Eats?
Yeah. At least you guys can definitely get your hands on some good grub. It's not like like me and my mates eating just toast.
Or snack.
Yeah.
Does your nutrition, like, do you think about your nutrition leading into a game, or do you just keep everything the same? Like,
yeah, I can get pretty superstitious. So genuinely, I'll have the same meals around game days just because I know it works and it's safe.
So what are your superstitious meals?
I like a pad thai pre-game. Like the night
really?
before. Yeah, love pad thai.
God damn.
You'd be getting it from the same place every time.
Yeah.
That's not a meal I'd risk and go, oh, there's a new Thai restaurant down there. We should try that.
I do love a pad thai. Not what I've guessed pre-game though.
Yeah, or noodle box, special fried rice.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
But I used to eat pasta pre-game, and Mum used to call it my lucky lasagna. And I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. I used to feel so heavy.
Really?
It just sits
in hindsight.
on your stomach.
Yeah, which I didn't realise for ages, but like I never really eat like a lasagna or like a cheesy pasta anymore.
There's certain types of pastas that just doesn't feel like a good clean energy.
Nah.
You just feel heavier and bloated. And I like rice, like or your noodles and stuff like that. It's all good.
I talk about like with Riley Gussie, our teammate, like we try to eat for your head too a little bit, like in season, like giving yourself the freedom to have a chocolate the night before or whatever it is and just relax. Like sometimes you can wire yourself up too much and take it too serious, but like having a chocolate and it kind of just cues you in that like it's just footy tomorrow. Like this is not going to affect me at all. Like
I think it plays into the mental aspect of it. The more serious you get about all these things, you can end up taking your footy too seriously.
Robot,
and you just like end up. You're not playing the natural freestyle game that you normally play. So, it's interesting. What does celebrations look like for the Bulldogs when you guys win? Are you allowed to go out and sort of party that night, or are they pretty strict on that these days?
It's more dependent on the break. So with a 5-day this week, like a definite no. But if you're playing like a Friday night and you're into a Saturday the next week or something, there's a good window, and it actually really like starts with Bonty, our captain, who's all for like having a social beer and enjoying each other's company. So from the top down, it's sort of embraced to socialise and get around each other. And it's a cool club because we do, like a lot of the interstate clubs like Sydney, they rely on each other because they don't have much of a network. They're all out of home and in different states. But we've kind of got that as well back home, which is cool because everyone's got their mates that they grew up with, but we still hang out so much together and enjoy each other's company, which is awesome. So we'll look to have functions and stuff quite regularly when we get the timing right. Everyone enjoys each other's company in a beer or two.
Is it usually someone there is making sure like none of the boys go too hard or anything?
No, it probably should be though.
Yeah, well said.
The AFL boys are pretty well behaved.
Compared again to NRL, far out.
Well, actually, it's funny though. Throughout the season, I become the biggest lightweight because I just like to lock in.
Yeah.
I prefer having sleep and just being like.
You're like an old man already.
Yeah, I am. I feel like that sometimes.
And you just lose your tolerance.
Yeah. And then you get to off season, it's go and burn some steam and have that fun, and then you don't really need it for the next 6 when you're in season. But I find if you're getting on it during the year, it can throw you around a bit, and you just want stability in season.
Yeah,
100%.
We had just a quick one, and I don't even know if we'll be able to keep this in, to be honest. But we had
we're keeping it in, whatever it is.
It was we posted a video promoting your bundle, the Musashi AFL bundle, right? And for whatever reason, the beginning of the graphic had an AFL ball dropping onto a pile of white vanilla protein powder. But the timing lined up so that we did it immediately after. I can't remember what team it was, but there was a bit of a scandal about a couple of AFL players getting caught on the bags.
Oh,
so we posted that, and we had about 200 comments of people just being like, "This cannot be was this intentional? This is hilarious!" So,
just hitting the algorithm.
yeah, exactly. But that's definitely something you don't hear from as much in the AFL. In the NRL, it's almost every week there's some scandal involving the players. You guys seem far more well behaved.
Pretty good.
I think so, yeah.
Pretty sheltered down there. Do you watch any sports outside of AFL?
To be honest, I don't watch.
Anything?
I used to love.
Do you watch AFL?
NBA?
Yeah, a little bit of. Well, not to be honest, not a lot, but a little bit. This time of the year, Olympics on. I love this time of the year.
Yeah.
So you're an Olympics guy?
Yeah, I think it's the best couple of weeks.
What's your event? What do you?
The swimming I get into. Find that awesome.
We're so good.
We're great at that.
Yeah. A bit of everything. The Olympics surfing's been on, and I just love the variety. Really, it's great. Just appreciate other athletes.
I think they're saying this year the surfing's actually in Tahiti.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's part of French Polynesia.
Been getting amazing swell.
Yeah,
that'd be mad. Hey.
What's your favourite event, Hal?
Basketball, obviously. I like that Saturday night, that game against Spain is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I saw you did the celebration, the mellow. I thought it was hilarious. Were you a fan of him? Did you follow them at all? Or you just saw that?
So he's really passionate about art as well, which I thought was pretty cool. So I've sort of taken a liking to him. And through a mate of mine that brings out people, sort of celebrities to Australia. Found out that he was coming to Australia.
Did you meet him?
Yeah, so I'd been painting him all week, getting ready to meet him. And I just happened to kick a goal, and I just booed it out. I'm not that guy.
That is a lead. That's very cool.
Have you met anyone else that you've painted?
Well, you met Shaq, didn't you?
Yeah, Shaquille O'Neal, Tom Brady, Hasbulla.
That's
Have you met? Out of all of them, Hasbulla, the biggest stuff. So you met all these guys. Really? Yeah. So does he actually speak English?
Nah.
Oh, God, tell us about Hasbulla. So he's got someone translating there, has he?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So me and Hayden Crozier, a teammate at the time, we rocked up at this place for dinner and took a seat. I happened to just sit next to him for the dinner. It was funny because we couldn't talk to him. He's just this little fella. He comes in and the entrees are coming out. He gets his chewy and spits it on the plate.
Does he?
And then he had one dumpling for dinner. And you got these big mafia dudes or something just in the corners looking over you. It's kind of scary at the same time.
Yeah.
They're not
dudes you want to mess with.
Nah, you're just eating your dinner.
He rolls in some pretty hefty Russian circles.
For sure.
What was Shaq like? Did you get to spend some time with him, or was it just a bit of a photo op?
Same thing. It was a dinner. So sat across from him, and there's a few rugby boys, Munster and stuff, sat next to him. So that was a good combo.
Nice.
Hearing that. But he was pretty interesting.
Munster's an old Musashi boy too.
He was good on the chat.
Pretty wild.
Yeah. Big Shaq, he just wanted to know about a place called Kittens. That's all he cared about. When he was just a strip club in Melbourne. That was his main Melbourne tourist attraction.
That's so funny.
Fuck, you've met some big names there.
Yeah, Allen Iverson's coming out. So that'll be cool.
That's it.
What are you gonna paint something for him?
Yeah, I've managed to get them all signed, which has been pretty cool. So
mate, what do you do? What do you do with them all? Have you still got all these pieces?
Yeah, the signed ones I'll keep forever, I think.
And
just build as many as I can up. It's a pretty cool opportunity.
Yeah.
But I'm actually doing. I haven't really announced it, but we'll do it now. I'm doing. doing
Big
it
announcement on the Musashi podcast.
Yeah, an art exhibition in about a month. So
That's sick.
Yeah, that's what I've been working on.
Give us the details.
So yeah, in Fitzroy, gonna have a night for charity that just sell this artwork that I've been working on.
That's so good.
Yeah,
I've had so many people asking to buy it for a while now, and I've held off just because I didn't really want to sell it and make my hobby that. But
Mate, if it's for charity.
yeah, I mean, it's a great way to sort of clean my garage and give people opportunity to see what I've been working on and further expand on like what I am other than just a footballer, because you can get pigeonholed pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm super excited to have a few nights where people can come and enjoy a beer and have a look at some art on the walls, and got a few other players involved with their passions too, so should be a good night.
Yeah,
Give us the
nice.
details. We'll flick all the details out on socials and
epic.
put it in the link for this podcast.
Oh,
so
when you probably announce it for sure.
I think in the next week or two, so
Yeah.
it'll be good timing.
It'd be sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you done have we got you to do a Musashi board?
Nah, we can get that done though.
Have you done that?
Be a good one.
What do you want? Your face on a Musashi
No,
board,
fuck
Hal?
no, no way.
You wouldn't fit that head
Just
on
the MU, maybe Whitaker.
That'd be good.
That'd be
that'd
very
be
cool.
good to do the full athlete lineup. Paint yourself. Have you ever painted yourself?
Nah, I won't.
Oh my god!
No,
I
that's-
think
that's
you
fair.
should do a piece, a nude piece.
No, can you settle down?
Imagine painting yourself. That would be an odd experience. I reckon.
Oh, couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
I've heard you're a bit of a master painter.
Yeah, nah.
I know what I'd be doing. I'd be enlarging certain areas. That's for sure.
Oh, apologies to the
Biceps,
source.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
See, Lockie's usually pretty good at keeping Ross in line. So
Lockie, yeah.
yeah,
He's very, very
shame we couldn't
professional.
get him.
So you're now up in Sydney. What? When do you fly home? Tonight?
Fly tonight, yeah. So
Played yesterday. Day off. Back home tonight and back
Yeah.
to the grind tomorrow.
yeah, back into it.
Are you gonna have a surf over in Bondi Savo?
I was hoping to, but it's pretty messy out there at the moment. The
It's a
winds are
bit windy.
pretty full on.
Bit of sun though.
Coleroy looked good actually. It was pretty calmer, but dirty water. I don't know what you're doing up here, but yeah, didn't look that nice. So I gave it a miss.
Where? Oh, out at
fair
Coleroy.
Yeah, it was real brown, eh?
Oh, it's probably the rain yesterday. Hey,
Was
How'd
there
you get a
rain?
bit?
Oh, there was rain
Bit in the
on
afternoon.
Saturday. Heaps.
you didn't get rained on in the game, did you?
No.
No.
Yeah, usually like storm water, just
Yeah.
all filters out, sewage, everything out there. No.
Yeah, we couldn't come watch. I had my basketball game at the same point, and
Yeah.
we were short on players because half my team decided to go and watch you guys. So they were not happy that you guys won. I was very happy. I sent a group message to our group chat after saying, "Don't rock up next time. We won without you.
Yeah.
Go and watch the Swans again. See what happens."
How'd you go? Any points?
Oh yeah, we cleaned up. I normally am like top 5 in that comp in points scored.
Okay.
So we did quite well. It's good fun.
Love that.
Yeah.
He plays under 12s though. So it's not hard. It's not a hard
Yeah, well,
competition.
I'm only 11 myself.
How many games are left in the season? You got.
What are we at? 20. So I think there's 3 or 4, and then finals.
So what's
Yeah,
the
mate.
maths with the finals? You guys shoe in or are we still tight?
Nah, the ladder's so unpredictable this
I
year.
know.
So we're 8th, but I think we're like a game out of 2nd. So it's
You're kidding.
It's that
or we
tight.
could fall to 14th or something like that. So it's
That's
crazy.
what?
Yeah, it's like a ladder that we haven't seen before. So it's more or less going to come down to the last round. Hopefully it's
The final
to
round.
make top 4, but it
Yeah.
could be to make top 8.
Who
Yeah.
have you got left?
The D's next week.
Yep.
GWS, North Melbourne. There's one other in there, maybe Adelaide. But
Yeah,
there's
you
four
do for a
easy
few
wins
wins
there.
I think it feels like we're in a really good rhythm where it doesn't really matter right now. We feel like
Sick.
our brand's stacking up. So
Yeah, if you
Looking
can
forward to
maintain
it.
that intensity like from the weekend,
Yeah.
that was like I haven't seen. That was phenomenal.
felt finals like out there,
Oh,
which is great.
mate, you
Yeah.
guys were just on everything, and you know, 2 players on one. Like it was just chasing everything. It just felt like there was Bulldog players everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
fun to play like that. And
Yeah.
everyone's feeding on each other and
Yeah.
high-fiving and just
Good energy.
It's almost that energy you're feeling.
Good,
Can you
good time
predict
for a
it?
winning streak.
So that sort of energy, do you get a feel for that like before the game in the locker rooms or the warm ups or anything? Can you get that vibe that feels like fuck where those days where everyone feels flat?
Yeah,
Because there's always those days. But do you get a vibe like when everyone's feeling good?
I think you do. Genuinely, it's like
And what's the secret formula behind creating that?
it's hard to know, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've talked about like your caffeine doses and stuff and trying to get yourself to that edge because it's a fine line before you
It's like in
you
jittery
overstimulate
and,
and
yeah,
you're jittery and stuff. But it's such a long season. It's hard to be there every week.
I know.
I feel like Laith Vandermeer and myself, there's a few that are kind of, that's you in a role a little bit, like you're the energizers, you're the energy pre-game, the noise, and you do try to really lift each other and feed on each other, but sometimes you get it wrong too. You think like we're a bit flat today, and you come out and you're perfect first quarter.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
can't predict
perfect. It's how we're supposed to be.
Well,
But
Do you have a bit of a pre-game ritual that you do yourself? Like, is there any like alone time pre-game where you're just sitting with your own thoughts?
yeah, I like to do a bit of like mindfulness and stuff and visualization. But something that I worked on with the Sykes a lot is like the game day. You can overanalyze how you feel so much, and you, like, to your point, whether you're off or you're not, but just accepting how you feel is like how you're meant to feel that day is bloody awesome for like the anxiety and stuff. Just to know that some days you can read right into it. I feel a bit jolly, or I feel too hype, or I feel this and that. It does not matter.
No.
Once the first bounce comes, you just have to focus on what your job is in the next 10 seconds, and then you're engaged and you've got a tackle, you've got a whatever involvement. But you can work yourself up for 3-4 hours before the game of how you feel, and it really doesn't matter at that point. As long as you've been able to train all week, you've eaten enough food, and you've had enough hydration, you're going to be fine once you're out there.
It comes with experience too, right?
Yeah.
The more you do it, the more comfortable you feel out there.
Sure.
The more you know, my pre-game feelings are not going to determine really how I play. But it can, if you let it get to you too much. So do you work with a sports psychologist, or the doggies got one?
Yep. So we've got a full-time psych at the club.
Just access to them whenever you want.
Yeah. It's actually pretty cool too through the AFL PA, the Players Association. We have like access to 400 psychs or something crazy. So I see a psych externally as well, and it's amazing. There's not really like a stigma around it at all now. Like you see your
I think it's a must.
Yeah, you see your mate in there and you're like, good. Like it's like he's working on his game. It's not like, oh, he's got problems. Or,
No, it shows
doesn't feel
keenness.
like that at all. Yeah, and to the point that like we actually get access to psychs for the rest of our life, and it's like you just know how much that'll help you in whatever industry you go into, like after footy, and they're incredibly beneficial assets to have, and something that you should be tapping into as players.
So pre-game visualization, what do they get you do? Like, what do you do? What are you visualizing?
Like your fundamental stuff. So reacting to the ball and the movement, or it might be just little parts of the games, like a one-on-one, and knowing what opponent you're going to get and seeing yourself beating him in that one-on-one, and just building that inner confidence. And it's amazing how much you can manifest that stuff and see it become a reality. But yeah, just sort of just like seeing things go well, and it's easy to doubt yourself and have second thoughts and whatnot.
Do those doubts do creep in, like
Totally,
in the locker room?
Yeah, we're all
stuff?
human. Yeah, like Bontempelli would have those doubts at times, and the best players in the league. It's like everyone's human. It's not. Yeah. It's not like that we're wired any different to the normal. But
well, that's one thing I think pro athletes share with like just casual athletes as well. Everyone pre-game, it's like that process of, I know I've done the work, but this and all these little things creep in, and it's that last moment of sort of, overcoming all that doubt and that fear and just pumping yourself up to the point where you almost feel invincible.
Well, every footballer is a good athlete. Like you're all fairly good athletes once you're out there, but it's the players that can put that on mute and overcome that, or cope with it as well as they can, compared to ones that get caught up in it. I think that's what really separates these good athletes and makes a difference.
Yeah. I think the good thing with the Dogs, I noticed this yesterday, you've got so many players that can step up and change a game. Like a lot of teams have got, 2 or 3 game-changing players. You guys, like, someone's on in every game. Like yesterday, I'm not familiar with a heap of AFL, that Norton.
Yep.
Bloody hell.
And Jamara Ugahagen.
Those two had the most cracking game, and then weeks it's like you're kicking 5-6 goals, and like you guys have got depth across the whole park.
Yeah, and when you're working for each other, it's like, Laith Vandermeer, Lockie McNeil, myself, you get your role done, Westy, and then Jamara's day yesterday or whatever, and then it's like he gets his role done the next week, and Westy kicks up for you, and it all sort of just works, and to have different avenues to goal is so important.
Yeah. It seems like you guys have got a pretty good team bond, and you guys are a tight bunch.
You're in a good spot.
Yeah, feels good.
Very nice. We better wrap up.
Oh, yeah, been going forever. Yeah. We could go all day.
100%, yeah. Anyway.
Let you get home. Thanks for coming in today, mate.
Yeah, this
really
is huge.
appreciate it.
Great to be in, lads.
Yeah, it's so good to have you as part of the team. You're our hero AFL sort of athlete. And
you're a great fit as well. It's like all the athletes, you're all down to earth, but you're also at the top of the game as well.
Yeah. We're excited to see how your career just pans out. You're an exciting athlete. You're exciting to watch. You outperform your sort of, your size. You well outperform that through your athleticism and your ability and your technique, and you're an exciting player. I'm excited for you.
It's very easy to root for you as well.
Yeah, you're a good guy. You're a good, very good guy.
Nice, thanks, guys. I've really appreciate your support, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, mate. Appreciate it.
Awesome, lovely. Thanks, guys. Musashi out.
Out.